when we're live.
Great.
And hey, all right. So we are live. So hello, Facebook world. Here we are again. I've got a friend of mine, Doug Ryan, who is with Alpha Biz, and he's going to talk to us a little bit about, as I'm lost in my computer here, trying to find him again. He's going to talk to us a little bit about the Paycheck Protection Program. I know that a lot of folks have had questions, something new that we're rolling out, not we, but the government is rolling out to kind of help small businesses. And Doug here is does do a lot with HR. That's kind of his specialty. So a lot of accounts that he's dealing directly with are relying on him to walk him through all this. So with that being said, hey, Doug, man, how are you today?
Hey, doing great, Dan. Just trying to survive out here. Try not to be too crazy, stuck inside all day.
Yeah, man, it's been tough. Tough. You guys just hanging at home, huh?
Yeah, man. I get up every day, get on the computer, answer some emails, get on a couple of webinars every day, and then just watch TV until I can't stand it anymore.
Yeah, I don't know how many shows I'm starting to watch shows that I never thought I'd ever watch just because I need content.
Yeah, that Tiger King is on the list, I'm sure.
I watched it and it was grueling, but you'd never wanted to stop watching. It was one of those shows where you're like, oh, I don't even want to watch anymore. This shit is so stupid, but I can't turn it off. Right? I want to see more of it. It's like I was watching a train wreck.
I'm actually from Oklahoma and moved out here to Florida. So I got, the Tiger King from where I'm from, and then I've got Carol Baskin where I now live. And so I'm like, oh man, I'm in trouble out here.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, it's like watching a house on fire. You're like, it's not a good thing, but I can't stop watching it burn.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So you're like, wow. But anyway, I mean, I know a lot of people have small businesses, whether it's real estate, whether it's medical industry, anything at all. And so go ahead, man, tell us about it, educate us on it. The platform is yours.
Yeah, I'll definitely do my best. As we were discussing before, this program is live, but it's not fully rolled out. The Small Business Association is still working on getting all the details hammered out, and the banks have just got the information this past Friday and still don't even know what they're doing half the time with it. I think Bank of America is the only one that actually had processed loans on Friday. And it looked like some of the other larger banks were going to start today, but they still haven't figured it out. So hopefully tomorrow they'll begin processing. But basically, the payroll protection program comes from the CARES Act, which was signed into law on March 27th. And it did a lot of good things for individuals. Hopefully we'll be getting those stimulus checks soon. But businesses are in dire need because they can't afford to keep their people employed right now. And so this part of the act was specifically geared towards helping employers keep employing those individuals so that they don't need so much financial assistance. They get it from their work, they can continue working. And so basically it's set up to do that.
How about those business owners that say, is it worth for me to take this to protect the paycheck and keep the employees on? Or is it not going to benefit me as the employer and I should just do like an SBA loan and furlough my employees? What would you say to business owners that are thinking that way?
Yeah, that's a great question. Honestly, if you're trying to keep your business going and making money, this is probably the best route for you. But there's a couple of things that will qualify you. And so really this loan is particularly specific for those that have a larger payroll than 10,000 a year. So if you only have, one guy making 800, every month, that's not really going to be for that kind of business. But also it limits to 500 employees or less. So anywhere in between there, if you're trying to keep your business going right now, meaning you're part of the actual list, the approved list by the government of essential workers.
Which in Florida is everybody.
Everybody's claiming it, but it doesn't,
Right.
so there's an approved list out there, and I can actually put the link there in the Facebook Live towards the end. If you don't know if you're essential, you can actually be fined and even put in jail for working if you're not in that list. So it is important that we work by that approved list. But if you are part of the list of essential workers and you're trying to keep your business afloat, the more work, the better. The more workers you have, access to, the better. If everybody is just staying home because, they
Yeah.
can't figure out how to do, or maybe your business isn't making as much because there's not as many people coming and using your services, you may not be able to afford to keep your workers on. And so that's really what this loan is geared towards. If you use it for payroll costs, health benefits, rent, mortgage, utilities, those things are actually what this loan is geared for.
Now, as the employer, aren't you required, and correct me if I'm wrong, to a certain percentage has to go to the workforce, correct?
That's correct. That's correct. At least 75% of what you get as the loan has to go into actual payroll items. So that includes health benefits and all of that, but does not include your federal taxes, doesn't include any of that. Obviously, here in Florida, we don't have state taxes, but if you're watching this live and you live in another state that does have state and local taxes, that actually is included in the wages that would go towards that 75%.
And I know we were talking prior to getting on. You said currently it's not even totally 100% being launched yet, right? I mean, it's kind of
right. It is launched, but because the government tried to push this out so quickly, they didn't have all the details in place, and so they actually launched it on Friday without having everything set in stone. And so just literally today, a couple of the details changed, and I had to notify a couple of businesses just about those small details, just because they're different from Friday.
wow. So it's kind of they're kind of adjusting as they roll it out as well. So it's kind of new to them.
Right. Yeah. It's mostly the banks trying to get the banks on board because they didn't get the information until Friday. So they're trying to roll out their own programs to basically get the loan in place. And part of that is getting the information from the SBA.
And the SBA loan is obviously totally different from this. And
Correct.
when you receive let's say you go in, you apply, you get the PPP, right?
Yep.
And now it's got to be paid back. What are the requirements? When does it have to be paid back? Is there term limits? All that stuff.
Yeah. So the reason why the PPP loan is so great for small businesses is the hope that all of it will be forgiven. So if you abide by what the loan is supposed to be used for, like I said, payroll costs, mortgage interest, not mortgage principal, rent, utilities. If you use it towards those things, the entire loan is forgiven, as long as you use 75% of it for the payroll costs. So if you don't do that, then you do incur interest at 1%, which is extremely small. 1% loan, you couldn't find that anywhere else. And so it's actually a 2-year loan. And so that's the maturity of the loan.
Which initially, and we might be talking about two different loans, but wasn't it initially supposed to be 0% and 30 years? And then they kind of went back and went 1% in 2 years?
Originally it was supposed to be 0.5%. And the administrator of the whole program decided that they wouldn't have any buy-in from the banks if they didn't bump it up to 1%. And that's the change that I'm talking about that happened on Friday, or from Friday to today.
Because the government wants to make their money and the bank wants to make their money. So if they're each making 0.5% now, then that makes the bank, the government both happy, and they launch it.
Exactly.
So basically you can take the loan, do what it's supposed to do, and you're good, or you can take the loan and go buy groceries with it and you got to pay it back in 2 years at 1%.
You can't actually. I was thinking I might want to start a business and just take it out for me. But if you were to take on the loan and directly not even look at the requirements or what the uses are specified for the loan, you could be fined up to $250,000 and serve jail time, basically for fraud.
Serve jail time. Wow.
So,
well, right now they're kicking everybody out of jail, right? So they don't get the virus.
Right. So, go for it.
Stay in your house and be safe. But if it's the jailhouse, don't. Right.
Right. But if you use it for the specified items, and you don't, meet, what it's actually supposed to be, the 75% for costs, you will have to repay the loan. You won't receive the forgiveness, and it'll be at a 1%.
Wow, this is awesome. Yeah, I mean, that definitely answered a lot of questions for me and for obviously, well, what I wanted to know. And I hope that, obviously when you're live like this, you only get a few viewers coming in and out. But then when this circulates, at least we can educate some people who have some questions.
Definitely. One of the key things that I did want to point out is that is how much you're entitled to through this loan. The loan has a maximum of $10 million, but not everybody is eligible for that $10 million, obviously. There's only $349 billion allocated to this loan. And so if this is something of interest for you and your business, you want to hop on it as quickly as possible, because it's going to fly. $349 billion doesn't go a long way when it comes to every small business in the United States. So, but what I did want to point out is that how to figure out how much you'll be entitled to for the loan. It will be basically taking your payroll costs through the last fiscal year, and multiplying that by 2.5, and that's going to be your entitlement from this loan. So, like I said, it is geared to pay for your payroll costs. Or sorry, it's actually a month to divide that amount by 12, then multiply it by 2.5, because it's built for 8 weeks of payroll. So they want you to be able to cover 8 weeks of payroll plus whatever rent, utilities, mortgage, interest, whatever else is on the side there.
Because they're assuming that we're going to be back to normal in 8 weeks, right?
I'm hoping they're going to put something else out soon, because I don't see
like what was that Jim Carrey movie where he was in a bubble?
I don't know. Oh, the Truman Show.
Yeah, this is the Trump show.
Oh man, don't even get me started.
He'll put something over us and we'll just all be protected now. Well, that's good, man. So I know, Doug, you had mentioned that you'll jump on and you'll put information in the comments as far as, links and educational platform, also how to get a hold of you. Also, if anybody has any questions or anything, they can jump in and ask you any questions.
Yeah, I'll actually provide my email. Me and the company that I'm with, Alpha Business Solutions, we're giving, we're basically spending all day, every day answering questions for businesses, whether they do business with us already or not, free of charge. So we want to be able to, we position ourselves in a place to help people right now, especially businesses that are struggling. We want to, them to come out of this on the other side. And whether we, continue a relationship at that point or not, we just want to be able to help.
That's awesome, man. Hey, I appreciate you coming on, and we can do this anytime, man. If you have any updates on any of this government stuff or anything that you feel like needs to get out, man, just hit me up.
Awesome.
I wish we were still down the hall at Novell, man. I
know.
Coffee and the freedom. I think we take that stuff for granted, right?
Oh yeah, most definitely.
I got to pay my rent.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see what happens. Hey, man, it's good to see you, and it's good to talk to you, and I'm glad you and your family are doing well. And yeah, like I said, jump on. And if anybody has any questions for Doug, please feel free to reach out. Also, if you need an HR guy, man, he's the one. So look him up. Thanks, Doug, man. You have a good one.
All right, you too, Dan. Good to see you.
Yes, sir.